Well, there we go. Good morning, everybody. Here we are, Friday morning, November the 6th. That's pretty crazy, eh? And time is going by at a ridiculous rate. It's hard to keep up sometimes. We're a little bit early, so we're going to wait for everyone to show up. We got 2 more minutes. Let's not rush them too much. They all expect to be here live at 9. Oh, in the meantime, how do you all sleep? Pretty good? Yeah, sometimes we sleep and we're a little bit creaky. Even though we feel like we slept well, we still get up, we're a little bit stiff and tough to get around. Need some coffee, right? The dual hydration, right? The coffee and the water. You always gotta have the water. Water is more important than coffee. But boy, coffee just helps. That's so good. So today we're going to do a little bit more of the harder stretches, right? So we're going to push ourselves a little bit to try to increase our flexibility. So some will be a little bit hard. If you're not quite there yet in your level, that's fine, right? It's something you can look forward to being able to do. Plus, it's something you can maybe try and see how far you get if you've been improving. So that's how this is going to go. All right. Are we at 9 o'clock yet? Oh, almost 1 more minute. Okay, it's no problem. So we'll chit chat for a while. Make sure you got a towel. And I changed my shoes. I found my other shoes a little bit big and bulky. So I got these ones. They're a little bit lighter. Just to help with that mobility, especially when we're doing stretches. So depending on what you're doing, especially with winter coming, foot gear is important, right? Whether it be the right kind of boots to be out in the snow, whether it be shoes to be wearing inside, maybe you got some slippers, whatever it is, they should always support you, all right? Don't wear shoes that, like if you wear them once and your feet hurt, they're no good, right? So how do you know that they're the right shoe for you? When you go to the store and you try them on, okay? This idea of I just have to wear it in and break it in, that's garbage, okay? That's from back in the day, right? So your parents in the 50s were wearing patent leather shoes, which would like cut your feet because they were terrible, right? Then the 80s, the Doc Martens, they came out, they were made with the same kind of leather, right? And they would cut your feet. So there are still shoes made with that kind of leather. Even Doc Martens now don't cut your feet anymore like they used to, right? But now shoes are made a lot differently, like very ergonomically. You see the way this is built, right? You got a big wide area for the toes, a nice support down at the bottom for the heel. That's what you're looking for. Something that you fit in, it feels super comfortable right off the bat, and then you should be good to go. All right, so with that speech done, it's now after 9, so we can get going with everything, and off we go. Okay, so we're going to start lower body because we're going to do, like I said, we're going to do a little bit more advanced stuff. So we're going to do everything lying down on the mat or sitting down, and we're going to start with the lower body to make sure that we free up. See, there's a reason to this one. Okay, this is not a daily stretch. We're trying to push our limits a little bit. So you want to make sure you free things up and loosen them up in order to help the more complex things a little bit later. Okay, so that's how we're going to do today. So we're going to start off with the hamstrings, right? You know these guys, super important. Now, as always, we know this. We've done this before, right? And you go up, right? And we want to lean forward. You don't want to bend down towards the toe too much. But the idea is to keep that back straight and lean forward. Now, if we have a towel, or if we have an elastic or some kind of a band that we can use. So by doing this, I can keep my back straight. I don't have to try to push my body forward. I can pull it forward to get that little extra depth in there. Remember, guys, you don't want to feel it more on the knees. So you want this down by the arch of the foot, not on the toes. And you're supposed to feel the stretch the whole length evenly. If you're not, back's not straight enough, right? We pull it. Now, your foot can be in front of you also. That's not a problem. I'm just doing this for camera purposes for you to be able to see it, right? So whatever is comfortable for you. What's important is that you feel the stretch from the insertion point up in the hips, right below here, all the way to the knee. If you're feeling it just in the knee, get that back straight, all right? I know sometimes I sound like a broken record with the back, but posture is one of those things that unfortunately our society has kind of given up on. Right? I think the only time you're ever told to sit up straight is for your manners, right? Like you had a fancy dinner, right? You were a kid and your mom would crack you and say, sit up straight, right? That was a behavior thing. That wasn't like a you're gonna have a unfit back when you're older thing, right? We didn't understand that stuff back then. Now we're starting to understand that the society we live in is hunched over all the time. So it can be a little bit hard to keep that posture up. Remember, relax that leg. There we go. Good. And if you're like me, you got one way tighter than the other. Night and day. Ridiculous. Good. Great. Good stuff. Very nice. Very well done. So those hamstrings, these are key, right? These are the highways to the lower legs. It gets all the blood, all the nerves, everything flows through there. Okay, so now we're going to work on our groin, which is pretty tough for a lot of us, including me. Now, you're going to try to bring your feet as close to your body as you can. And as you can see, this makes my knees go way up high. A lot of you probably better than me at this because, again, the lower body, when you grew up playing hockey and football, no one cared how flexible you were. They cared how fast you were, how strong you were. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to, now that you're in this position, you're going to try just one side at a time, slightly press down and relax, right? So you want to relax. Get my hand out of the way. So here, when you push down, you're going to have that stretch reflex that we talked about, right? You want to try to just relax that and let it go. And you're going to feel a little bit of tension in the hip, but that's okay. That's why we're not pushing a lot, right? We're doing this slowly. This is over time. One side at a time, right? We relax. Good. Now that we've done each side individually, here's what you're going to do. With your elbows, you're going to try to get both at the same time. And just a slight put. Remember, guys, look, I'm not moving a lot, right? I'm going from here to here. You're not going very far. You just got to go a little to get that extra stretch. And then we go that little bit more every week. Eventually, we'll be just amazing yoga masters, right? There we go. But just to give you an example on how beneficial it is over time, there was a time I couldn't sit like this. Like this wasn't a possibility for me. I couldn't do this. I was way too stiff. So yeah, it works, right? It just takes time. So patience, and that's why we relax into the stretches. Yeah, now you get it. All right, so now we're going to do a glute stretch. Now, you remember this one, right? Leg back, right? Knee this way. So, as if we're sitting Indian style, we flip that leg out of the way. Now we're going to bring that chest to the knee, right? So, arms down. We're going to start going down onto our elbows. And there we go. Now you're going to notice you're probably a little bit better at it than you were even last week. Right, deep breath. Relax into the stretch. Exactly. There we go. Perfect. And back up. Remember, always use the hands to support your shoulders on the way up. Okay, we're going to switch sides. You can just roll over, but I'm going to switch sides so you don't have to stare at my keister. Okay, here we go. You ready? You see how bad I am at breakdancing? I was never good at that. So guys, I realized I rushed into this position just now, and my back is a little bit bent. What's key is that your back bends at the end, okay? So I'll do it in reverse, you'll see. Right? So when you come down here, your back has got to be straight. And only at the end do you let that cave in, okay? So that's key. Guys, you want to keep that back straight pretty much the majority of the time. Every once in a while, we'll be able to break that, okay? Good. Listen, you guys are doing great so far. How you feeling? I mean, I realize we haven't really gotten into really complex stuff yet. That's coming, okay? So we got 2 more things we want to do on the sort of warm-up phase before we get into, it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be like 3 or 4 maybe of really hard, a little bit harder ones, but we want to give them a shot, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to work out that shoulder. Man, you weren't sure where I was going there, I know. And we're going to loosen up the shoulder. All right, so you remember these windmills. All right, nice and easy. They're not very complicated as far as like advanced stretches go. So if you really want to make it advanced, what you do, you ready for this? Now, this is only for really advanced people if you're strong, okay? You're going to engage that core. You know how I show you how to do it? If you're my client, right? And you lift. Good. And now you go. Right? Now you're adding a side plank to it. But if you're going to do it, make sure that you're still getting the stretch. All right? So that would be the advanced way of doing it. You're still going to make sure we're stretching that arm. We're still reaching and getting that stretch going. Right? If we're not really reaching for that stretch, look at this. I'm so tall. Way too tall. Okay, if we're not reaching, we're not stretching, right? In this one, we want to go up and really try to get that ceiling. And extend those fingers as far as we can. Right? Good. Doing great. Nice. Good. All right. So one more thing. We're going to do the child's pose, and then we're ready to try out a little bit of harder stuff, okay? So in the child's pose, now remember, back is straight. Right? We lean back like that. Good. Now, when you're here, finger crawl yourself a little bit deeper as you relax. Let yourself sink into that. Good. Perfect. There we go. Doing great. Ready for another one? All right, we let ourselves sink in, right? And we push ourselves back a little bit. Good. Now, if you're feeling discomfort in the knees, guys, you should stop, right? You shouldn't feel pain anywhere. You should feel tension, yes. Pain, no. Big difference, okay? So let's just make sure we're in tune with our body when we do these. All right, I'm just going to grab a little glass of water. I've been talking way too much. Alrighty. Okay, we ready to try a little bit harder stuff? Okay. You guys got this. It's not a problem. I might need to mess with the camera a little bit. So I'm going to hoist it up after this one that we're doing down here. So you can do a bit more things standing up. So it'll be, well, it's live television. So it's going to be a bit of a disaster for 2 minutes. So here's what you're going to try to do. Now, this is a little bit tricky. So really be careful, okay? So here's what we're going to try to do. You remember this pose, right? We've done this. What you want to do, okay, starting like this, you want to try to get yourself up, right? Sitting up nice and straight. And then from here, we're going to try to bring our foot up And now you're stretching out. Your back is being supported, and you're stretching out some of your quads. We're just really pushing that flex tension, right? So where you need to be careful on this one, not so much the foot, it's the back, okay? Because what tends to happen is people, they bend to reach the foot, okay? Because they're like, can't really reach it. So then they crank their back to reach it. Again, this is why we have tools like this. Tool, it's a towel, but we use it like a tool. If you're a pro, legit like us, as I say that, and look like a doofus trying to get it to work, right? There we go. So this, also good. So remember, back straight. And then we're going to use this. If I can get a hold of it with my friggin', this is the problem with live TV. I should just re-record these things. But then you'd miss all the fun. Right? And there we go. So there you're getting it up, and you're still able to keep that back straight, all right? A little bit tough, I know. It's going to work the hips. It's going to be tight on the back. I understand. So don't push yourself if you're having trouble. So here's what I'd like you to do. If you're having trouble with this one, okay, what I don't want is I don't want your back to be suffering too much. Okay? That's the key. So you can, in fact, do it this way, right? And bring the foot up this way, right? You can reach down and get the foot and get it to come up this way with you, but you have to make sure that that back is straight. Okay? If you're going to do it this way, that back needs to be straight. Good. Just like that. Nothing crazy, right? A little bit hard, but nothing crazy. Now we're going to stand up. Okay, you ready? All right, here we go. First to come up to the camera and get all weird. There we go. Well, good morning again, everybody. Here we are. Okay. Pardon my posterior showing up in the camera. How are we feeling so far? Not bad, eh? Okay. This one's coffee. All right. So, now, you ready? Okay. We've done these ones before. Okay, so you're going to do the splits as far as you can comfortably go. And where you should reach it is when you feel slight tension here. You're not reaching out to your most extreme. Okay? Slight tension. Back straight. We're going to lower. And from here, you can let your back bend a little bit. And we're going to drop down. And now you're going to feel, right, that extreme stretch here, which is why we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to push it too far. Relax into the stretch. Good. And back up. Good. So now you've stretched that out. Remember, guys, the toes got to be pointing forward. If you point them out, you're going to hurt your hips. Okay, so now I could probably get a little bit farther now that I've stretched it out. To feel that stretch again, I got to widen even more. Okay? Right. Okay, here we go. Ready? And down we go. Good. Big breath. And relax. Good, and back up. Now we're going to bring the legs in. We do it incrementally, right? We don't force them. We don't let those tendons snap in. We bring them back calmly and controlled. All right, how'd that feel? Good? All right. You guys are doing great, by the way. Can I just tell you that? You're doing fantastic. Okay, so the next one, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a warrior pose. We're going to move into the other side. So what we did last time, if you remember, we would do the warrior pose on one side, and then I would stop, and I would say, great job, guys, then we do it on the other side. We're going to do a transition from one side to the other. It's going to involve some pivoting, right? Some movement of the legs and thighs, right? So we're not going to be down, stand up, turn around, right? It's going to be a whole flow into the other side. Okay, so here we go. You ready? Not going to be easy, guys. It's not going to be easy. So first we get our stance, right? So calf is comfortable. So very similar to the calf stretch. Right, we come down. Good. Right. We come up. Very nice. Doing great. Now hold on. You okay? Okay, hold on. All right, ready? Arms to the side. Good. Now we're going to rotate. Now you're in warrior pose number 2. Right? And you should be able to get a little bit deeper now. Okay, now from here, keeping the knees bent, right? Knees bent. And we're going to rotate. There we go. You got it. Okay, need a little adjustment there. That's okay. Didn't quite make it all the way. That's all right. And now we bring it up. Good. And down. Good. So that's it, right? So that the arms is what helps you get around. And if you notice, you may have been concentrating like, okay, how am I going to get this to happen? But you didn't notice that your whole body just whoop, twisted, right? Doing great. You want to try that again? Okay. Oh, what's this one say? What is this message? Doing good. All right, good. I'm glad you're doing good. Perfect. All right, we'll do this. Then we have one more to go, and then we'll call it a day, okay? All right, so here we go. Again, we take our stance. Right? We lean forward. We come up. Right? So that you see that back is getting a little bit of a distension, but it's getting nice and stretched out. And we hold it, right? This is our stretch. Good. Now, arms down. We turn. You don't have this in the way, so you keep your arms straight, okay? Good. Now we're here. Core is engaged. We're doing good. Ready? For the pivot, we slide around. Good. Doing great. And then we bring up and back up there. Good. Fantastic. And then down we go. Good job, guys. Very good. Hey, listen, that's my first time trying it too. So if that was your first time doing that, hey, that's how we push ourselves, right? The reason I wanted to save my first time doing that and not practicing a whole bunch, I wanted to do it live with you for a reason, because that was my first time. I had a couple of adjustments to make, right? I want you to see that even, like, it's normal, right? Unless you've done it multiple times, it takes some getting used to, so don't feel bad, okay? So next thing we're going to do, I want you to find something stable that can help you in this, okay? And I'll show you why. We're going to do a sumo squat. And we're just going to go down and we're going to try to relax. So what your goal is to try to bring your butt as close to the floor as possible. Now, if some of you are really, really tight, like myself, it's going to be pretty hard, right? I told you my hamstring issues. So if you're a little bit tight, it might be hard. It's good to have some support so you're not worried about falling and you're able to let yourself relax. Because if you're sitting here and you're like, okay, I gotta make sure your legs are not gonna be able to relax. Right? So, sumo squat. What does that even mean, right? You've seen these guys, they do that thing, they do the leg slapping thing, right? Leave the legs nice and wide. Good. Now, we just want to come down. Now you're not coming all the way down, right? So you're not sitting, because if you're noticing being wide-legged, it's affecting your hips, right? So you're not like a squat like this where you're all the way down, okay? You're wide, and it's working right here on the outside. So maybe you can get here, 90 degrees. It's about what the sumos do it, right? They put their hand on the floor. So now you just have this in case you, whoops, right? Need to fall forward. Right? So I can come in and I can get that stretch. So if you look what I'm doing from the side, guys, okay, I'll get the chair out of the way for you. Right? So you see my hips? I'm not just doing this, right? I'm bringing them forward. So I'm dropping the hips and I'm trying to get that chest up. And that's really working these hips here. And up. Okay? So it's not just bending over. It's trying to get the hips forward while you're bent over. A little bit tricky. Right? So why is it called the sumo squat? Sumo wrestlers, surprisingly, are very flexible. And they'll squat in that position and stare at each other for 5 minutes. It's crazy. So, all right, ready? Here we go. I'll do it from the side again so you can see. I figure you got the idea, right? Wide-legged stance. Right? Here we go. So we're going to squat down. Now I understand we're going to start off with the back, right? Keep that back straight, good. And now we bring the hips forward. Right? So we're not just, if you look, I'm not just trying to force my back up. I'm bringing my hips forward. Good. Again, if you need a chair, no problem, right? Good. And up. Good one, guys. Wow. All right. Well, that's it. Listen, you did great. So we did 2 brand new movements today. I think you did great. Let me know how it feels. Shoot me a message. I want to know if you were able to do it, if you had any discomfort in it, if you did where, because maybe that's something that we need to focus on and correct. All right, so that's it, guys. Listen, it's Friday. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. Oh, please get out, right? It's bright. You see how bright it is behind me? Right? It's a nice weekend to get out. I realize COVID, and there's a lot of stress. Yes, we have to be safe. We have to be smart. But staying hunkered down inside all day is not good for the mental health. Because yes, you and I were working on this, but this is important too, right? Mental and emotional stress has an effect on you physically. Your body responds to the stresses it's put under. That's both physical, emotional, and mental. All right, so get out there, relax, enjoy some fresh air, sit on the balcony. It's the weekend. You made it through another week, and we'll see you back here on Monday. Bye, everybody.